The year is 1987. Soviet Union is not doing well. The country is nearing its demise. There are food lines everywhere, goods are scarce, services are of terrible quality, and entertainment is close to non-existent. The country is impregnated with huge changes. The trigger is needed. And the trigger comes from the least expected place, from the state propaganda TV. In this video, I'll tell you a story of how LA Lakers became the trigger that started the demise of the USSR. It's showtime. Ooh, this is cool. Let's go back to 1987. Soviet Union is a very bleak and dull place. Like I said, entertainment is close to non-existent. People's lives are full of problems. Everyone understands that the country is going wrong direction. In my life and the life of all Soviet teenagers back in the late 80s, there were three things. First is school, second is sports, and the third is hanging out on the streets from morning till night. We usually were playing cards, sometimes on interest and sometimes making small bets. My parents didn't know that I was making bets. And that was all entertainment that we got. Of course, we could read, which I did quite a bit, but you cannot read all the time. And we could watch TV, Russian TV. 2 channels, there was not really much to watch. We were isolated from the West. We were an island. We didn't see any foreign programs, foreign films, nothing. It was just dull, boring communist commentators, programs, and so forth. I still remember the day when everything changed. Saturday. Soviet TV, just 2 buttons, 2 programs. The information about the programs we received from the newspaper. There was a weekly schedule of the programs. One day, we pick up a newspaper and all of a sudden, besides all usual suspect of Russian propaganda programs, there's something new, something fresh, something interesting. The paper says on Saturday, 4 p.m., it's 1 hour of American basketball, NBA World Championship. Huh? Well, we knew our basketball. Soviet team was very good at basketball. Sports and space is basically all we could be proud about. Basketball was very popular in the USSR. But we had never seen American basketball before. Interesting. Let's give it a try. There's nothing else to do anyway. I turn on TV and I see Los Angeles Lakers versus Boston Celtics. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and of course, names don't tell me anything. That was the very first game of National Basketball Association that I ever saw. From the very first time, we understood that that was something else. That was something different. What I saw on that day was anything but basketball. It was so different from what I had been used to. Everything, not just the game itself. It was so much more. It was the show, it was the stadium, how the game was organized, how it was televised and filmed. There were so many cameras, different angles, so much color, so much light, sounds, commercials, people going nuts and people sitting all around the arena right next to the court, so different from the Soviet stadiums where we were sitting far away from the court, basketball courts. Spectators, regular people, they were part of the show. The entire show was aimed at them, not just at the game itself. The players, oh my gosh, they were anything like Soviet basketball players. They were so emotional. They were so fast. They were jumping so high. They were dunking, not just to win the game, but to win in style.
Освещена. Замена у динамовцев в игру возвращается Сизов. 92-75 вновь побежали секунды на световом табло в тренировочном зале. Хорошо атаковал сейчас.
30 seconds to go. Robinson for the inbound play. White picks it up and he goes. He scores! Incredible! 3 seconds. There's Magic got it. Magic fires. Oh my God! The Lakers win the game! NBA action. The Lakers win the game! It's fantastic.
That was so different from the Soviet basketball.
Sekunde na sila ang tatlo.
Oh my gosh. The commercials, that was the first time when I saw commercial on TV. Back in the USSR, we didn't have any. They blew my mind.
The Warriors will run. Garland all the way to Mullen. Oh, what a shot!
Fantastic.
Barkley another rebound. Charles behind. Unbelievable. Fantastic. When it comes to sleeping on the roof, he's got packs in the beat.
You gotta love it. NBA action, and it's fantastic.
That first game between the Lakers and the Celtics had such a tremendous impact on me. I was hooked immediately. Magic Johnson made such an impression with his unbelievable mastery of basketball and his huge personality, even bigger personality than he was the player. His smile, his moves, his play onto the camera, the whole 9 yards. I showed up at school, got together with my buddies, and we were like looking at each other and like, did you guys see that? And everyone knew instantly what we were talking about. Everyone was like, yep. And we didn't know what to say because it was such a tremendous event. Soon after that game, there was an announcement that the televising American basketball NBA championship was such a huge success on Russian TV that they decided to keep on showing it on a regular basis every Friday. Wasn't prime time or anything. I think it was like 4 p.m. Friday, work day. But oh my God, we were so hooked. That was the event of every week. We waited for those games. NBA games shown on Soviet TV was definitely the event of the year. 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. Oh my God. We never missed one single game. The games were absolutely great, but so were the commercials. We lived for those commercials. We hadn't seen anything like that. NBA action, it's fantastic. I love this game.
Well, the defense was asleep and then drove it all the way. John Danny. Oh, kick pass, third to Maxwell. Rogers again, look at this one. He's running up the Magic Watson margin behind the back. America's game. It's fantastic.
I would get a pop soda, a little bottle, and I would just, sit in front of the TV and I would close my eyes and I would imagine that that's me sitting in the real forum in Los Angeles, enjoying the game, like watching the game, Lakers playing someone, That, how much of a impact the whole thing had on me, a young Soviet boy. It wasn't about basketball. It was the window into a completely different world, the West. It showed us that there is an alternative opinion about what the West is like and the people at the West are like.
NBA action, it's fantastic.
It was such a huge difference from what we had been fed by Soviet propaganda. And the thing is, it was very effective way to show us the life of the West, because no one was telling us from the TV of how they lived, but they were showing us. They were showing this incredibly fantastic lifestyle, glamour. We saw people being so emotional at the games. We saw the players. We saw every time someone would make a dunk or would make a three-pointer, people would go like, wow.
Pressing on the inbound. Gets it to Jay Humphries. He's going to the basket. Pumping. Yes!
Danny may have to take a long one. Dennis will. Hits it! Dennis Johnson hits a three!
Reed hits fake, turn, fire, shot, blocked. Rambis with a shot, no good. Rebound, Rambis, up and in with a tap. It's good, Hornets win!
NBA action. It's fantastic.
That's something unimaginable in the USSR, and we loved it. We loved seeing people sitting right next to the court and watching the game closely. We loved, Hollywood stars like Madonna, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson coming to the Forum in Los Angeles and just being a part of the show. It was such an eye-opener for us that we started asking questions. What the hell? What are they telling us? And that's completely different from what they're showing us. And what they're showing us, it cannot be a lie, because this is right in front of my eyes, in front of our eyes, but what they're telling us could be a lie, okay? That was the first nail in the coffin of the USSR. We started asking questions because NBA games was the first peek into the world of the West. It was the very first trigger. There were two major triggers. The first one is the NBA games. The second was McDonald's coming into Russia. The NBA games, something that we could see on TV. McDonald's was later, 4 years later, something we could taste, smell, try, see for ourselves close. But it was number two. NBA was number one. And I still, to this day, don't understand how these people at KGB, responsible for propaganda on TV, how they allowed American basketball, NBA games, to be shown on Soviet TV. Because there was a huge blow to Soviet propaganda. Later on, I learned how this whole thing happened and how American basketball came onto Soviet TV. Soviets had basketball guy, last name Gomelsky. He was visiting the United States and he met David Stern, back then the commissioner of NBA. And they were just talking, and Gomelsky told Stern that it would be nice to show American basketball, NBA games on Soviet TV. And Stern said, oh, let's do that. They shook hands. And basically what happened, Stern would send someone with a tape to take the tape to the airport to a Russian pilot on a commercial passenger airline from New York to Moscow. The pilot would bring the tape to Moscow, and a delivery guy would pick up the tape at the airport, wouldn't bring to a Russian TV station. They would translate it. So we watched a game every single week. It was incredible. What an experience. Whew. I never wanted to be a basketball player. I never wanted to be like Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or anyone for that matter. I wanted to be like Jerry Buss. Yes, at the age of 12, I knew who Jerry Buss was. I knew he owned Lakers, okay? I even knew who Jeannie Buss, his daughter, was. Now imagine, Soviet Union, 12-year-old kid, not knowing anything about the life in the West. I knew who Jerry Buss was. I knew his role at the Lakers, and of course our most favorite team was the Lakers. Lakers was it. I figured he was such a cool guy. He was king of kings. He would show up for work every day, and he could see Magic, James Worthy, Karim all the time, anytime he wanted to. He was the coolest, so I wanted to be Jerry Boss. Now, I know that the USSR had many problems. The whole system was wrong. People didn't have any freedoms. The government had complete control over our lives. The economy was planned. That's not good. That's not the way it goes. And I know that many will say, Soviet Union did not fall apart because of the NBA started showing the games. No, but the NBA games was the very first trigger that made us start asking questions. And the questions were plentiful. Before that, we didn't know anything to ask about. And after we saw what was happening in the NBA games, oh boy, did we have many questions. The collapse of the USSR was one of the greatest things of the second half of 20th century. Soviet people were finally liberated. There was joy and celebration. But now, someone is trying to bring the old USSR back. And you know what? They're not gonna succeed. Руками двумя. Давай, нападай. I love this game. He loves it too.